Hello, beautiful soul family, and welcome to Weekly Wisdom and Insights, your home for spiritually guided transformation and empowerment. I am your host, Dear James, and together with the unseen, spirit, source, and symphony, we look at the current energies, the intuitive wisdom and insight, and we go as guided. And this is an action-packed month, week, moment in time. It's just nonstop. We literally just had the Lunar New Year, solar eclipse, new moon in Aquarius, and all of these energies, and we're building to this coming Friday's Neptune and Saturn at the 0 point, the 0 degree of Aries, and this whole like cleaning the slate and energies that have not transpired, some of them in thousands of years. So again, this isn't astrology as normal right now and energies as normal. There are some very epic resets that are taking place. Welcome, Alicia. So let's just dive in really quickly here. We're going to look at the main energies. And this is really interesting too, because of course, February is a 2 month. So we have the receptive. 2026 is a 10, which becomes a 1. It's the creative force, so divine feminine, divine masculine. And it ultimately culminates in the 3, which is difficult beginnings persevere. We are right at that threshold point, this moment in time where everything shifts and changes. And it's as the way this is being seen and described is that we look at where we've been, the era, the energies, and so forth, and it all changes. That completes. And with Saturn and Neptune being conjunct at 0 degrees Aries, which will perfect on Friday, the 20th of February, and the lunar eclipse, the new moon in Aquarius, all of this futuristic energy that's resetting itself. And so it literally is saying to us, it's the Etch-a-Sketch. It's like, shake up your own story, shake up your own life, shake up your own truths so that what emerges at this 0 point is our main theme, this higher octave of yourself, of the world, and of your story, that we get to rewrite our stories. And certainly at this moment, because this 0 point is connected with when civilizations, humanity evolved and changed. And so we have a lot going on here. Let's move to, and let's just take a real quick look at these two astrological charts. The first one is for the new moon in Aquarius. And it happens, and then 13 minutes later is the solar eclipse. They just occurred on the 17th. The charts are almost identical. There's a few things that are different. Well, when I looked at the charts again, intuitively, what I heard is you came in like a wrecking ball. Welcome, Colleen. And so the energies for the solar eclipse, the Lunar New Year, which is the Yang Fire Horse, and the new moon in Aquarius is you came in like a wrecking ball. It's a very famous song by Miley Cyrus. But the point about this is when things rush upon us, in the instance of the song, it's about love. Um, but in this instance, it's about life. It's about the changeover that's taking place and transpiring. And so it comes in like a wrecking ball, but that's not a bad thing. Yes, it can be disruptive. Yes, it can destabilize and so forth for us. It's going to catapult us forward, move us forward. And so it's about where do we, again, Etch-a-Sketch, let go of the past to receive the future, the present future. Our main theme is this beautiful 2 octaves, 2 choices, 2 ways of being. And what you'll notice is that the lower octave in the image is breaking apart. It will eventually cease to exist. And so we are being implored to take and choose the higher octave. But it's 2 octaves, 2 choices, 2 ways of being. So let's look at, let's look at octaves. The spiritual meaning of an octave centers on completion, renewal, and the beginning of a higher level of existence, stemming from its Latin root octavus, eighth. It signifies a transition from one cycle to a new, higher vibration, often representing the resurrection, new beginnings, or the transition from the physical to the spiritual. We are being, it's a word in here we're going to come to, up leveling. We are being up leveled. We are leaving where we were to receive something higher, more fluid, a higher octave. Um, très léger in French, it's to be very light, and so forth. It signifies new beginnings and resurrection. So in Christian tradition, the eighth day, the octave, signifies, quote, a new day after the 7-day week, representing the resurrection of Christ and a new era of creation. It's a completion of cycles. An octave often represents the full perfected manifestation of a cycle, such as life stages or liturgical celebrations that last 8 days to fully contemplate a mystery. And so we are literally completing major cycles and a major cycle, Piscean to Aquarian, patriarchal to matriarchal, the I to the we. Esoterically, an octave is the starting point of a new series that reproduces the previous series at a higher, more evolved level, akin to musical notes. Biblically, it is associated with solemn assemblies and dedication, such as the 8-day Feast of Tabernacles, symbolizing a perfected sacred period. And it also notes that in spiritual sound practice, octaves relate to the harmonic or arctupal, connecting planetary frequencies to deeper spiritual meanings. So it's this, it's the music of the spheres and the music of the cosmos. In summary, an octave is not just an endpoint, but a bridge to a higher, more refined state of consciousness or existence. So this is where again, we're going from the mundane or the ordinary to the extraordinary, from color to technicolor. And this shift that takes place, and I don't know about you all, but the energies, and not all of them. I mean, there can be shadow pieces that are coming up, fear, shadow, worry, all of that. That's the old model. And so each time it comes up for you individually, so that collectively we rise to the upper octave, it's to just face it with love, light, happiness, healing, whatever the words are that will shift the vibration for you, that lift you up so that you stop the old sequence, that's an old energy, and you claim the new. Now we're talking about two ways of being. So this 2 octaves, 2 choices, 2 ways of being, and 2 ways of being. Spiritually, this generally refers to the duality of human existence, representing the contrast between living from a place of ego or materialism and living from a place of spirit and divinity. These 2 ways of being, often described as the lower self versus the higher self, or the temporal versus the eternal, are 2 sides of the same human experience that individuals must navigate and integrate. The 2 natures. So we're talking about our higher octave. 2 octaves, 2 choices, 2 ways of being. And there's an add-on to this, which we're coming to, which is a split decision. But we're talking here about the 2 ways of being. There's the false ego. This way of being is focused on self-preservation, gratification, fear, and the illusion of separation. It sees the world as fragmented and itself as independent. And there's that image, that lower octave is fragmenting, it's dissipating, it's falling apart, disappearing, if you will. And then there's the true or divine self, the spirit. This way of being is connected to the source, to God, the universe, the all that is, the divine, characterized by love, oneness, and eternal consciousness. It recognizes that all beings are interconnected. We're interconnected with the cosmos, with the earth, with each other. These 2 realms, one horizontal, one vertical. So the horizontal is the human physical. This represents everyday life, which is often chaotic, temporary, and characterized by doing rather than being. It is the realm of the body, the senses, and the temporal limitations. The vertical being divine, represents a connection to the divine, providing peace, stillness, and a sense of oneness. So this is about transcending all of these illusions and the operating system, the matrix that we've been in, the lack, the limitation, and there was an astrologer that just referred to this as a labyrinth, so a matrix, a labyrinth, and how sometimes when we're in a construct, that construct makes us feel safe. We understand it. It's the beast we know. We understand it. But then we recognize that, that labyrinth, that matrix has me stuck, stagnant, not growing. And so while it's safe, there's something beyond it. It's the canary in the bird cage. And the bird cage, but the door is open. And so beyond this construct is a vastness that we've yet to experience. And that really is that beautiful image that we had last week that is about beyond the beginning is near, and from the imaginary foundation. And that here we are within the matrix, the rubble of what we've created, where we are. It's all black and white and gray and, decayed. And yet, as this individual stands on the top of the ladder, looking over the matrix, looking over the labyrinth, over the wall, look at the mystery and the beauty and the magic of the cosmos beyond. That's this threshold moment of where we are. And so, two ways of being. So this the horizontal that represents everyday life, which is often chaotic, temporary, and characterized by doing rather than being. It is the realm of the body, the senses, and the temporal. The vertical represents the divine, the oneness. The ultimate goal is not to abandon the horizontal for the vertical, but rather to live at the intersection, anchored in spirit while engaging in the physical. See, it's an inverse. It's not anchored in the physical and engage in the spiritual. It's about anchoring yourself in the spiritual while we engage in the physical. That's our soul source connection. That means I'm listening to my higher octave, to my higher self, to the unseen. I'm anchored in that truth and wisdom, that energy source, as I operate in the physical. It's completely an inversion of where we've been. And these two paths, it's like righteousness versus destruction. Rooted in biblical traditions, this perspective highlights a choice between two lifestyles, two choices. A life of meditation, obedience to divine principles, and more than obedience, but this reverence for it, this commitment to it, this higher octave, and spiritual growth, resulting in being firmly planted and fruitful. That's the narrow path. The broad path, destruction, is a life of following worldly wisdom, leading to being like chaff. You're not the wheat, you're the chaff. Easily blown away, dry, empty, and spiritually stagnant. And it's also about duality. In Eastern traditions, it's about duality and non-duality. The perception of me versus other, which is the source of suffering, that's separation, or the realization that all is one, and that the individual is not separate from the creator or the creation, that we are literally one with the divine. The spiritual journey involves moving from identifying only with the lower self to recognizing the higher self, thereby allowing the divine to act through the human, integrating both aspects into a unified whole life, oneness. Welcome, Kiki. And so this two octaves, I'm just bringing up the image again very quickly. Two octaves, two choices, two ways of being. And they've said to us many, many times, the unseen has said through the weekly wisdom and insights journey, we're going back to where we began, an octave higher. This Chinese Lunar New Year, the eclipse that just occurred, the new moon in Aquarius, it's futuristic. And then that occurred on the 17th, and then on the 20th, 3 days later, Saturn and Neptune come together. This sets the stage. It opens the door, the eclipse portal, as you'll see, but also And then come on the 20th, it's the reset. It's cementing the new. The 0 point at Aries is the point of creation. So what comes after it has yet to be. What came before it is done. It's completed. And so this is really a moment for us individually, collectively, to just completely reset our lives. Choose a higher octave. Let go of the past. Learn from it, but let go of it. And then allow the present future to be brand new. What's before us? Because this is about, and we've had these images, these energies are about accelerated advance. It's about the fact that at that 0 point moment, we have the 4 aces, we have everything we need. And all the aces represent new beginnings. So wands are fire, cups are emotion, swords are clarity and truth, and pentacles are resources and so forth, like abundance. We have it all. This is about divine judgment. There's a divine element to this. This is the cosmos, the as above, so below, the astrology of it all. But this is the divine orchestrating this next octave for humanity. So it's about divine judgment. It's about divine time, divine order, the wheel of fortune. We are moving forward. It's the magician. It's co-manifesting, co-creating this experience, this heaven on earth experience. And that as the Fool, we step out into the newness of this with purity, with joy, with the sun, the sunbirth, the life force with us, the clouds ready to carry us. And while this sounds fantastical, it's not, because like the 7, it is the foundation of God's word, the divine. It's divine perfection, completion, and fulfillment. So it leads us to this higher octave, but it's a choice that we must choose. What would it look like to choose my higher self, this higher octave? I was speaking with a dear friend and colleague and saying, what's funny is the ego, mind, personality human will always look to the past, look to the experiences, look to where you've already been, look to who you are, and then select something that's, oh, that's safe. But when you sit and you're really honest with yourself, you'll recognize that that is exactly what it is. Oh, it's the selective process that my ego, mind, personality human is choosing because it's air quotes safe. It's within the labyrinth, the matrix. What would my soul, what would the unseen, the divine, what would this higher octave of myself choose? What would it look like? And even if I have a glimmer or a glimpse of it, or maybe it's unknown, am I willing to allow, to say I'm choosing that, and allow the unseen, this masterful plan, to unfold that leads me forward, that guides me to it? That's the choice here. 2 octaves, 2 choices, 2 ways of being. Welcome, Olivia, and a split decision. So we have a split decision. And a split decision spiritually signifies an agonizing, transformative choice between 2 deeply meaningful paths, or at times, 2 good options that pull the soul in opposite directions. It's a choice point. It's the two of swords, the 2 of wands in the tarot. We're at a crossroads, and it's, do I continue? And I hope no one does this. Myself included. I hope no one does this. I hope that the wisdom of the 2 of wands, the 2 of swords, this choice point says, choose the higher octave, choose the higher path, choose the unknown path. Allow the divinity in you, the divine, to unfold and guide you and lead you to a higher octave of being, of your life. And so a split decision, it can be a split decision can be very, very rapid, very quick. These energies, this is accelerated advance. So things can happen on a dime, and you're going to have to choose which one. Which one are you going to be? Which one do you choose? And what happens all the time is when you say to someone, if there were no obstacles, money's not an issue, there's just the world before you. You stand completely whole and sovereign and free in this moment. Would you choose A, this higher octave, or would you choose B? And each time the obstacles, the illusion of the obstacles are removed, money, relationship, whatever it might be, fears, to a person, they all say, well, of course I would choose the higher octave, choice A, the narrow path, the higher octave. So we're at this moment, then choose that. When that's real, should that be true? Choose it. Align with it. Allow it to unfold. And don't let the ego, mind, personality, human knock you off course, because that's the only thing. So this split decision, it represents a necessary, albeit heartbreaking at times, sacrifice for personal growth, often forcing an individual to align with a new, more authentic future while letting go of the past. It's the unknown. We're aligning with the unknown. The ego is going to be like, and want something safe, and but that keeps you stable, stagnant in the matrix. When you break free of it, when you step through, you expand, you elevate. It's a balancing act. A split decision acts as a spiritual scale, forcing a deep internal weigh-in of options, often reflecting a need to choose between personal desire and long-term higher growth or higher good growth. It's often described as breaking a piece of oneself off. It signifies a deep, painful, but necessary evolution toward the person one is meant to become. We have to be willing to let go of who we've been, where we've been, what we've been, to receive, yes, what's unknown, but it's becoming, what's becoming. And that will always expand us and elevate us and bring us into new, growth and life and opportunities and peoples and all of this. So while we're watching, the world burn, I use the analogy of while we're watching, Rome burn, awareness, but don't absorb. We don't have to absorb that. We can bear witness to it, be aware, be informed, and then shift our energy to this higher octave. I'm stepping up. And thereby, it is it's sometimes the split decision is about choosing between, sometimes it's two equally important or good things, requiring the soul to find peace in a situation where one cannot do everything. At other times, like I just said, it's about really listening and being brutally honest with ourselves to say, is this choice, why am I choosing this? Is it because it's safe? Is it because it's familiar? Is it because it fits into this narrative of who I am and where I've been and what I know? Because the scary option is going to be the one that says, but you're meant to do this. Will I step through the threshold? Will I elevate? Which is our key word. We're coming to it. Will I elevate? A split can symbolize the choice between living in fear and old patterns, old earth, and aligning with love and unity, new earth. In some spiritual contexts, a split decision is seen as overcoming the illusion of separation and returning to a unified, authentic self, or dealing with the duality of existence. So, see, again, when we release that, when we release the ego from driving the narrative, and instead we listen to the soul, well, then we calm the ego down. It's used to being in charge. And now we say, it's okay. Let's see where this goes. What's the worst that will happen? You'll discover something new. You'll move or elevate to a new level of being. You'll relocate literally, physically, you know, spiritually, figuratively, but it will change you. And in short, it is a pivotal moment requiring profound discernment that ultimately serves to refine and advance a person's spiritual journey. This is the energies of this week, this year, and what's going to play out. And the important part is to realize we're right in between. We're in the eclipse season. It just occurred on the 17th. Coming up on the 20th is the Saturn-Neptune reset at 0 degrees Aries. That's what's so important about this. They come together every 36 years. It's not the fact that they're coming together. That in and of itself is a big deal. It's the fact that they're coming together at the 0 point of creation. It's a massive reset. And how this will then play out over the course of time before us, because it's dismantling the lower octave, the octave of where we've been, the previous octave. We're leveling up. It's number one from the unseen. They said a higher destiny, world, way of being, the path less traveled. And then I heard free your mind. We've had that before. So this is about ego, mind, personality, human. Free your mind. That's a song. It's the title of a song by In Vogue. But what they said was free your mind, and then Destiny's Child. Well, that's another group, both from the same time period, the same genre time period. And yet Destiny's Child had a greater arc, if you will, a more expansive arc to their careers and so forth. And the unseen is saying, see, we're all, meaning Destiny's Child. We are all the children of destiny. We're Destiny's Child. And destiny is a higher destiny, a higher world, a higher way of being, a path less traveled, this higher octave. And it's about choosing it. Because we can't be complacent. This isn't a passive moment. This is a active moment of choice. And then you lock in that higher frequency. You lock in that higher narrative. You say, I'm willing to forego the past. No judgments, nothing wrong with the past. I'm willing to forego it to receive this new world, this whole new way of being before me. That's exciting. It's number two from the unseen, which is a plea to humanity. And they said, elevate. And then came the song from The Sound of Music, where the Mother Superior sings, climb every mountain, which is take every step toward attaining your dreams. So the unseen is saying to us, this is a plea to humanity to elevate. Well, let me bring in elevate. It's our key word, and so much to do here. And in the image, you see again, it mirrors somewhat the one that I showed where the person is on the ladder looking over the wall. You somewhat see this rubble in the background, this darkness. And it's like a keyhole, a threshold, a keyhole, where this woman, this individual, is stepping through into the light. And so this keyword elevate, raise or lift something or someone up to a higher position, raise to a more important or impressive level, to lift up or make higher, to move or raise to a higher place or position, lift up, exalt. That's what's occurring with all of these energies from the unseen, the as above, so below of the astrology. It's an up-leveling. And let me just go to that. This up-leveling, to improve, enhance, or upgrade something to a higher standard quality, or in computers, a later version. We've talked about how we're moving to a completely different operating system. It's like um, Microsoft versus Macintosh, two completely different operating systems. It's commonly used in business and personal development. It signifies progressing in skills, strategy, or status to achieve better results, often following a breakthrough. This is a breakthrough moment and choice. And we don't have to stress out. The unseen is reminding me in the moment. We don't have to go, and I haven't done enough, and I haven't done, Get rid of that. All you have to do in the moment, in this moment, is claim the higher octave, align with it, step by step, piece by piece, brick by brick. But it's a moral choice is what they're saying to me in this moment of which path are you on? Because it is a moral choice. When we take the narrow path, the higher road, it's a higher moral. We want for ourselves, and thereby we want for each other. We want for the world, for Mother Earth. We want for the whole of the whole. That's a moral choice. And when we don't choose that, it's a lower octave. It's got goo and shadow to it. And so this whole up-leveling and to actively improve, see, it's active, to actively improve or boost skills, strategy, or efficiency. And it's advancing to a higher, more strategic or senior place or position. It's referring to a more advanced or later software version, completely new operating system. It's shifting to a higher mental, energetic, and skill-based state. It's an upgrade. It's an enhancement. It's a boost. It's an improvement. It's an advancement. It is often used to describe moving beyond simply, quote, improving to achieving a significant transformation in capacity or performance. That's what we're talking about here. It is a high octane reset, and it requires choice. And we see this playing out on the world stage where the old patriarchal institutions, governments, businesses, corporations, all this stuff that are cleaving and clinging to the past, to the old labyrinth, construct, matrix. And yet you see the people, it's Aquarian, the people pushing back, saying no. Sometimes it's an individual voice, someone that might have a broad platform. Other times it's a confluence of peoples in the streets demanding more, pushing back, saying no more, no. And there's this beautiful aspect. I'm just putting on my specs here because it's number 4, which takes me to the fire horse. This is the year of the Yang fire horse. Number 4 from the unseen, so it's foundational. They said the fire horse. The eclipse it's an annular eclipse, so it was where the moon doesn't fully block out the sun, it leaves a ring. It's known as a ring of fire. So they said the fire horse, ring of fire, expansion of humanity. Look no further. Not this, not that. For it is here. You are here. So again, where the ego, mind, personality, human wants to direct the narrative, drive the show, tell us what we're doing. The unseen is saying in this moment with the fire horse and the ring of fire, it's an expansion of humanity. Look no further. Look no further means await or allow what's to come, the reset. Not this, not that. Meaning we may be thinking that we have options and choices. Oh, I'm aware of this. I could do this or I could do that. And yet the unseen is saying, da, 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 wait. Wait until this shift occurs. What might come in your dream state, your intuition, your waking state that shifts the entire trajectory? Because again, you're choosing a higher octave. You're choosing the narrow path. You're choosing the new. And you're co-creating, you're recreating in complete alignment with who your soul is. What from this moment forward will create your new story. So you're no longer your past story. You're no longer who you've been. We'll take the best of that. We don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. We'll take the best of it, but we do not bring along the goo and the shadow and all of that stuff. We're up leveling. So let's go to the fire horse. And we have two different things I want to talk about. So the 2026 Year of the Fire Horse represents a rare 60-year cycle combining intense, ambitious energy with a desire for freedom, revolutionizing personal and global landscapes. It symbolizes high-speed change, courage, and intense passion, favoring bold actions, innovation, and breaking established, stagnant, or limiting patterns. Fire signifies passion and visibility, making this year incredibly fast paced, dynamic, and potentially disruptive, often bringing major shifts in politics or society or both. The year encourages taking risks, speaking desires openly, and moving forward rather than waiting. It highlights a need for autonomy, personal power, and occasionally a rebellious or untamable spirit. Occurring last in 1966, these years are historically linked to significant, often tumultuous global transformation. While it brings opportunities for growth and achievement, the intensity can lead to impatience or emotional turbulence, requiring careful management of mental health. So, this is about where we embrace the disruption, we balance the passion, and we harness that high octane, rapid acceleration and energy and fire in a healthy, positive way. Because otherwise, we're running roughshod over ourselves and others, and that's not the moral of the story here. So, this is the overall energies of the fire horse. And then this is from Richard Rudd at Gene Keys um, regarding the horse, and its category is leapers. Its life key is benevolent revolution. Its dream arc partners is the penguin and the butterfly. And its related gene key is 49. And this is the guidance. They say, "We are the horse. Our people are ancient and strong. For as long as human memory, we have been bound up with your ways, serving you, sometimes through the yoke, and sometimes as a friend. In the before time, we were always free. Great herds of our people freely gathered and ran together across the plains. Always in our hearts, each one of us carries the longing for the return of this dream. It is why we run. We have called us into your dreams now, for you share this same dream of freedom and return. The power we can carry together is more than we can carry alone. My people are a bridge for you to work with all animals and to work with all humans. I also carry a great prophecy of change. You need to clear your slate now. There's a massive clearing of the slate. A revolution is coming. Your energies are needed to serve this revolution alongside all creatures. Even though it may seem that all is lost, your fight is needed now. Find a fight, a cause, one that stirs you like no other, and pour your heart and soul into this cause. Cast aside your human concerns and fight for the great and the good and the justice and the truth. We horses are great leapers. Just by putting your very energy into such a task, you will see that everywhere doors will swing open. When we're aligned, when we're authentically aligned, when we're dedicated, we're in it to win it, the doors open. They swing open. The goddess will assist you in a myriad of mysterious ways, for you are riding the wave of change, of social change and of personal change. Help others to feel this same energy. Help them transform their fear. Be their inspiration. Move from a place beyond hope. Move from a place of deep trust and overarching benevolence. This is how we horses live. Yes, you will meet many challenges, but you will surmount them with us by your side. Ahead of us, a door is closing and another is opening. Make sure you are one who makes it through the door and take as many others with you as you can. All across your world now, there are countless souls ready for this revolution. Call them, be bold, mount your winged steed, and sail into the skies of the future that is dawning. It's a very impassioned, beautiful call from the fire horse, the Yang fire horse, to uplevel, to be the change we want to see. And I just want to show that I have this beautiful image of the Yang fire horse, and it's coming through the cosmos, it's coming from the cosmos, and we have this brilliant star further out in the cosmos. That star was reminiscent of this image, which is the the emblem for the Knights Templar. It's this red cross, and it reminded me then of the Templars. And number 3 from the unseen is the armor, the army of God. Wear it, place it upon you. And there was this connection to the Knights Templar. So there's a connection. The unseen is showing us this connection between the Yang fire horse, the energies of this, and what came before us, the Knights Templar, this army of God, army of the divine. And this armor, they wore this on their shields, on their breastplates, on their horses, on the mantles of their horses, this armor. And they said, wear it, place it upon you. And it also reminded me then of the Israelites in Exodus 12:23, where they had the blood put across the mantle. So as things passed over, so as the firstborn were taken of all, it passed over them because they were wearing the armor, this mantle, this army of the divine of God. And so the empowerment of the horse energy is off the charts. And it, again, a rare occurrence, very auspicious in Chinese culture, when the occurrence of the fire horse and a solar eclipse occurred on the same day, the same time. So you see what we're talking about. There's a lot of things that are happening where it's not everyday astrology or everyday, Lunar New Year and so forth. There are confluences that are happening that are magnifying and amplifying this moment in time, these energies. And so it is a big deal. Colleen is saying it is needed. Yes, all of this is needed. So let me now go through to, I want to move to North Point Journal. Um, and this is, and yes, Colleen's mentioning that the Knights suffered horribly by, it was I believe King Philip of France, and where he was in cahoots with um, the Pope at the time. And Godfrey became the head, or was the head knight, and so forth. So yes, exactly. And so again, and yet look what they were protecting, something of a higher octave, a higher value. And so there's an awareness from the unseen that this moment in time, what was being protected, shielded, protected, revered at that time, is being realized now. It begins this new story. And the unseen, said many shows ago, and that Mary Magdalene would lead the way. So the divine feminine. And she's now known, of course, legitimately, rightly, as the apostle to the apostles. So this divine feminine teacher and vessel, and I don't know if the right word, goddess, um, for humanity. There's a larger story playing out here as we transition from Piscean to Aquarian. It's the completion of that, and then the literal realization of it. The past 2,000 years was the struggle for it. Now comes the realization of it, and that's where we are. Um, So North Point Journal, Pam Youngins, and she's speaking to planetary collaboration. Two very significant astrological events occur within 3 days of each other this week. In chronological order, the first is an annual solar eclipse in Aquarius on the 17th of February. Then on February 20th, the long-awaited Saturn-Neptune conjunction perfects at the Aries point, the 0 degree of Aries, the very first degree of the zodiac. These two events are collaborating in the activation of major changes that are now becoming extremely obvious, both in individual lives and in our collective world. Each of these cosmic events would be impactful in and of itself. The fact that they are occurring virtually simultaneously reveals that there is a powerful plan unfolding at this time. It's number 6 from the unseen, and it was the word unshakable. And then they said, God has a plan and it will not fail. So here, Pam Youngins at North Point is speaking that it reveals that there is something, a powerful plan unfolding at this time. Unshakable. It's unshakable. It's number 6. It's spirit and service. God has a plan and it will not fail. And then they said, surrender, align, receive. Surrender, align, receive. Remember, anytime you surrender, you are surrendering to your soul source connection, to your divinity, to the divine. You are not, it is not outside of you. It is not to another. It is to your soul self. So it's very powerful. So to surrender in that way is to be the most empowered. So this unshakable, God has a plan and it will not fail. Surrender, align, receive. And lastly, Pam Youngin's North Point Journal, she's talking about empowerment of the feminine. She says, a very significant piece of this complex puzzle, one that she does not see many astrologers discussing, is that when Saturn and Neptune align on February 20th, they will both be exactly sextile, that's a harmonious aspect in astrology, Sedna in Gemini. These aspects represent an opportunity for us to rise above the victim role, to claim or reclaim our voice, to speak our truth, and to embody our soul's higher purpose. She sees these aspects as specifically supporting an empowerment of the feminine voice and perspective. Mary Magdalene leads the way. The Knights Templar protecting something very sacred. And this to place or put on the armor or the armor of God, the army of God coming forth, God the divine, the all that is, the unseen source, and to place it upon you because it's going to lift you. Synchronistically, the Sabian symbol for the first degree of Aries, where Saturn and Neptune align, is, quote, a woman just risen from the sea. A seal is embracing her. Astrologer Dane Redyer explains that this symbol refers to the development of individualized consciousness, the consciousness of being an individual person with a place and function, a destiny, in the planetary organism of the Earth, and in a particular type of human society and culture. This is that beautiful element of Destiny's Child. We're all Destiny's child, the divine's child. We all have a choice to up-level, to step through, to claim our higher octave. Um, it is the result of some basic action, a leaving behind. See, we're leaving behind where we've been, the sea, where what we know, and emerging from a womb or matrix, here symbolized by the sea. These are powerful times indeed. Saturn's sextile to Sedna only occurs once. However, Neptune's sextile to Sedna is long term. It will repeat again on the 23rd of October and the 23rd of December of 2026. So there are again longer aspects playing out here. Let me now move to moon omens. There's so much to get in here. Um, Moon omens is speaking about the solar eclipse in Aquarius, a new timeline. A powerful new moon annular solar eclipse in Aquarius inaugurates the new lunar year, the year of the fire horse, according to Chinese astrology, as well as the first eclipse of season of 2026. This eclipse, happening at 28 degrees 56 arc minutes of the sign of the water bearer, Aquarius, is the first one in the sign since 2018. It brings potent turning points in our evolutionary journey and opportunities to quantum leap into a new timeline. So we're talking about a turning point, evolutionary journey, quantum leaping. Twice a year, eclipses open portals to an entirely new reality. These events are gateways to a time of accelerated change, accelerated advance, unpredictable information or transformation, and quantum leaps to a new timeline. Eclipses are potent triggers that activate significant transitions in our lives and initiate us into a new chapter of our evolutionary process on a deeper spiritual journey. The new moon solar eclipse taking place on the 17th of February is an annual solar eclipse, which means that the moon's shadow covers the central part of the sun, leaving only a ring of fire surrounding it. Eclipses take place when the luminaries join or oppose each other while in alignment with the lunar nodes, the two opposing points that mark the intersection between the moon's orbit and the ecliptic, the apparent path of the sun from our perspective on Earth. As they mark the area where eclipses happen, these points are associated with karma, dharma, and destiny. Since January 11th, 2025, the North Node in Pisces has been asking us to learn to surrender, to practice simply being without always doing. As the North Node is now being activated, we are being asked to release our attachment to rigid plans, stop micromanaging life, and have more faith in divine timing and in the intelligence of change itself. This eclipse conjunct the North Node points at the importance of walking the path that starts to unfold, even when we haven't fully understood what it is about and where it is leading us. See, it's unknown to us, but it is about aligning with it. This is what we were talking about. Eclipses effects, eclipses effects unfold for 6 months. So while this is happening this week, and it occurred on the 17th, its ripple effect is a good 6 months. The current solar eclipse in Aquarius invites us on a brand new journey of growth, encouraging us to venture into uncharted territory. Whatever we begin now could have a more significant and long lasting impact than we expect. This eclipse is an invitation to explore new ways of connecting and collaborating and start creating radically new systems, paradigms, and communities that can foster collective progress and evolution. This event is also pointing to the need for a drastic change in how we relate to technology, the internet, social media, and AI. This was all about what are we consuming? What are we allowing in? What do we find morally acceptable? And then how we go about regulating it, both individually and collectively. Significant developments and discoveries in these areas are likely to occur. New regulations may be implemented, and surprising news may spread quickly all over the world. Tightly squaring Aquarius's ruler, Uranus, this new moon solar eclipse and the Yang fire horse begins an especially unpredictable month. Eclipses are already unpredictable by design, and particularly so when they happen in a sign like Aquarius. However, the activation of Aquarius's modern ruler, Uranus, brings this to a whole new level. And remember, Uranus is both the higher mind, the God mind, and expect the unexpected. Uranus teaches us to be rebels with a cause, to break free from anything that prevents us from growing, and to revolutionize our lives in a way that is aligned with our uniqueness. This is about being in alignment with our souls, with the divinity of it, the uniqueness of it, and the celebration of it. Imagine if it was all just the same. And this is, see, this is what the old is trying to cleave to. Let me keep you in the box, the matrix, the labyrinth. And Uranus is screaming from the heavens, hell no. We're moving forward. This is the higher octave. It's unshakable. It's a fait accompli. It's a done deal. So where do you, 2 octaves, 2 choices, 2 ways of being, a split decision, what are you individually choosing? The unseen, it's a plea to humanity. Dear James is imploring all of us to choose the higher octave, to choose the higher path, to choose what's before us, the unknown. That's where the magic lies. That's what's before us. That's what's looking over the wall of the decay behind us. There's newness in front of us. It's number 7 from the unseen. Go as guided. Be honest and real with yourself and others. Because it's only with, and it's number 7, it's the truth of and the foundation of God's word. It's in that truth, when we're being really brutally honest with ourselves, we see ourselves. We'll see our ego, mind, personality, human decisions, choices, or reasons, or intentions. And then we can pause and say, okay, now, what's my higher octave? What do I really, truly want? Given no limitations, no obstacles, just set them aside. What would I choose? And then align with that. Lastly, with moon omens, with multiple square aspects, frictional aspects in astrology, we are navigating an atmosphere of general tension and friction between the familiar and the unknown, the need for stability and the impulse to break free from everything that limits us. This configuration intensifies the sense of uncertainty and instability that eclipses always bring, while simultaneously offering us new opportunities for awakening and redirection. In short, solar eclipses are portals to a new reality. So this is about a new reality, moving forward, and how we get there. And I want to bring up this image because it was so important. It's this beautiful image, is shooting from the back of the Statue of Liberty, looking at Manhattan at New York. The sun bursting between high rises, the torch up above, being held high, and this 2 ways of being. The Statue of Liberty represents liberty, freedom, fraternity, unity, possibility. And in this image, it's being shot from the back of her. We're looking through her eyes to remember what she embodies, what she represents in all of us. It's the horse, the fire horse, this liberation and freedom, this renewal, this sense of purpose and opportunity, with the bursting sun coming forward in front of her, illuminating her, which is illuminating us. So now I want to move to ethereal culture. And this is Juliana McCarthy, the astrologer, etherealculture.com. Aquarius solar eclipse, commitment and consequence. On Tuesday, an annual solar eclipse forms in Aquarius, opening the eclipse vortex with a Virgo lunar eclipse, the moon lunar eclipse, arriving 2 weeks later on March 3rd. This solar eclipse coincides with the Lunar New Year, a synchronicity that ancient traditions considered to be auspicious and a fated reset point. Solar eclipses are portals of initiation, amplified new moons that shift our trajectories. Seeds planted under this eclipse will affect us for years to come. This is not a moment for trepidation, but for emphatic commitment. Saturn and Neptune recently returned to Aries, the first sign of the zodiac, intensifying the sense of beginning. Their first exact conjunction is just 3 days away. It's on the 20th of February, marking another threshold of initiation. The intention we set now have great transformative potential for the fresh energy of Aries, the solar eclipse, and the Lunar New Year combined. Historically, solar eclipses have signaled the fall of the king when there's an imbalance of power. Occurring in a tight square to electric Uranus, this eclipse carries a volatile, unpredictable charge. Truth is surfacing and power dynamics are shifting, while structures built on distortion are beginning to fracture. That is the lower octave. Just going to bring it up again really quickly. There's that lower octave fragmenting, beginning to disappear, fall apart. And so, um, in our personal lives, this may appear as sudden disruption, an unexpected ending, or flashes of clarity that quietly reroute the future overnight. If something is misaligned with our authentic hearts, it may fall away now. If it does, we can trust that it had already begun unraveling long before this moment. So, again, if something is departing us in this moment in time, people, places, things, whatever it may be, with grace, allow it to go, fall away, surrender, align, receive, open to the new, allow it to come in because it's already been going. It was meant to go. Aquarius rules community and collective vision, and also rebellion and exile. It is it is the archetype of the outsider who must leave the group to honor deeper truth. It's number 56, hexagram 56 in the I Ching is the wanderer. The wanderer is the one that leaves what's known to receive and seek deeper truth. And so it's this idea that it's the archetype of that we lead the outsider who must leave the group to honor deeper truth. This eclipse asks us where we have been performing loyalty to an idea, circle, or future that not a person that no longer reflects who we are becoming. Over the next 2 weeks, time will feel like it's compressing while fateful encounters accelerate. What once seemed distant may suddenly feel close. We can pay attention to what appears and what disappears now. Both are messages. So when something happens for us, it's a message. When something doesn't happen for us, it's a message. Listen to both. Whatever happens, it's important that we remember to relax and embrace change. Breakthrough is available to us when we trust the universe and open our hearts to all that arises, especially painful truth and sharp intuition. It can be that split decision in between two ways. Um, these hold the key to our liberation. On this Aquarius solar eclipse, may we find the courage to release what we've outgrown and embrace the uncertainty of our becoming. May we trust that whatever shifts or falls away is a portal to the next version of ourselves, which is far more liberating than scary. We just have to face our fears. That's all we're doing. We're facing change, we're facing our fears. Let us do it with joy. Let us do it. It's number 5 from the unseen through extraordinary change, up leveling. Peace be with you. It's to remember that the unseen, our soul source connection, the all that is, angels, guides, past transitioned loved ones, everyone's working together in harmony. The planets, the music of the spheres, it's all happening through extraordinary change, up leveling. Peace be with you. We're with you. It was a statement. It was a reminder from Master Jesus to the apostles. Peace be with you. We're with you. The divine is with you. And thereby, this is the moment that we find ourselves in. And there's so much up-leveling and opportunity for, again, accelerated advance. 4 aces. It's a time of divine judgment, divine will, divine order. We're moving forward. The magician, the co-manifester, the co-creator, we have everything we need. And we are the fool meaning the ingenue that believes everything and anything is possible. Let us do it together, unified. Let us step up and make that choice to up-level, to come into greater harmony with the all that is. Because this fire horse, the beauty of the horse, and this connection to the armor and the army of God that the Templars represented, to the marking of the mantles, where God led the Israelites. It was one of the acts that, of course, Moses was guided to tell the Israelites, mark the lintel, the lintel, so that when destruction came, it passed over you. But what did it do? It was one of the pieces of the puzzle that liberated the Israelites from enslavement in Egypt. It led them, it allowed Moses to be guided to lead them to the promised land. Well, this, now fast forward how many thousands of years, this is what's happening. It's a 0 point, it's a reset for humanity. And while that may sound fantastical or mystical, magical, or happy hooey, it happened in the past. It can certainly happen again in the present day future. This is where we are. I'm going to post, because we're running far over, I want to, astrology, they're telling me to do it anyways. Okay, we're going to go a little bit longer. Stay with me. And this is Astrology by Lauren, the solar eclipse and the lunar new year. Welcome to eclipse season. The next several weeks are jam-packed with astrological significance. Even as Saturn enters Aries on Friday the 13th, we are being asked to take greater control over our own lives and destiny. However, I suspect it will be all we can do to keep up with the volatile solar eclipse on February 17th, which is launching the dynamic year of the Fire Horse. Things move quickly in Fire Horse years where many changes can be made, and fire-driven perseverance wins in the end. As Saturn enters the fire sign Aries, we are being asked, do you want to be hopeless and helpless? Or do you want to take the reins of your own life, leading it where you want it to go? This gains even more significance when we see both Saturn and Neptune sextile Pluto in Aquarius, which asks us as a totality to reclaim our lives. This is breaking through the illusion, the matrix, the labyrinth. It's up-leveling. It's realizing what is an illusion. The tenacity and the speed of the fire horse combined with Saturn, Neptune, and Aries, measured by indefatigable Pluto, is a force to be reckoned with. See all these multiple things conspiring, all happening concurrently. You can just feel humanity as a whole releasing the bow lines as they step into their power. This is not all. Mercury has entered its shadow with the North Node at its side, opening doors to the inner world so we can see ourselves better. When we follow the path Mercury is showing us, it will lead us to our own true purpose. This is where it's look no further, not this, not that. Let your true higher purpose be revealed, come to you. All we have to do is step through the door that is being opened for us, which leads us to its source. Venus is finally rising as an evening star on the night of the eclipse, reminding us that we are not alone on this journey. We just talked about this. There are others here with us. We have guides who have been this way before. There is magic in the air during eclipse season, and this one has guides and fellow travelers along for the ride. Just be aware and just be aware. They too want this for us. We're in reciprocity with the unseen. It's not just who we're interacting with in our 3D lives, our friends and parents and families and coworkers and cities and governments. No, there's a whole army, a whole legion in the unseen that is in alignment, that is in this moment with us, walking this with us, co-creating with us in this moment to make manifest this new reality. Astrology by Lauren. Just be aware that eclipses are unpredictable, and this one could be ever more so. With a very close square aspect to Uranus, we could be in for a few surprising shifts. This is the sort of weather in which things get tossed up in the air, scattered hither and yon, and falling we know not where. Illuminating, revelatory, and volatile, this eclipse can strike like lightning with its suddenness. Because the energy is so restless and impulsive, Saturn will have its work cut out for him as he aims to take control over the chaos. It may take a while for the dust to settle. Solar eclipses are new moons, which are associated with new beginnings. The difference being that eclipses are much more extensive in their reach and influence. They tend to leave imprints so that when other planets come to the same degree of Aquarius, they can serve as a catalyst, activating the potential of the eclipse. So as the planets hit this same degree that the solar eclipse occurred on, the new moon, the Yang Fire Horse, it will trigger them and activate the eclipse again, the energies. Um, the difference being that eclipses are much more extensive in their reach and influence. They tend to leave this imprint. Um, This will be true when Mars reaches this degree on March 1st, just after completing its own square to Uranus on the 27th of February. This looks like a twisty roller coaster ride taking on a speed and momentum of its own making. This is all about go with the flow. Make the choices to align, stay in the eye of the hurricane, and just go with the flow and allow things to unfold. Americans, take note. This eclipse is quite close to the solar eclipses in the summer of 2017 and February of 2018. This is also significant about the degrees of all these eclipses, is that they crossed and are crossing the American president's Leo Aquarius, ascendant descendant axis, and the planet Mars, a very loud and sensitive point in his chart. Interestingly, it also crosses the ascendant descendant axis of the vice president. There is no doubt these eclipses are stirring something up. Some questions to ask. Will this eclipse mirror the previous solar eclipses? Could this eclipse act as a catalyst for events that have been gradually brewing and simmering on the back burner all this time? On their own, eclipses can be highly unpredictable and even life-altering, especially if it hits a sensitive point in your chart. It is true that there are times when they appear to be negligible, that eclipses appear to be negligible, or the effects seem to be more internal and subtle. However, even subtle changes within the auspices of these sorts of eclipses can have major ramifications. There are times when the veil between the worlds seem to thin, when karmic causes appear to ripen. As a result, these can be very powerful times of new beginnings with profound and perhaps unexpected consequences. The sun represents our vital energy, and especially with the solar eclipse. And I am just bringing back up this image of the um, Statue of Liberty. And an annual solar eclipse at the South Pole, such as this one will be, can still feel as if our energy is being eclipsed as well. The space that we'll be traveling in between the solar and lunar eclipses can feel like a crazy roller coaster of emotions and an overload of information. This is that place where space is altered, time warps converge, and all we can do is walk through this turbulent period to reach the other side. Due to this being a north node attending solar eclipse, it is also important to step out of our own way to realize our higher purpose. There will be others here to help you. This is when we are being asked to consider what is best for everyone concerned. It is also often the case that truths are revealed at these times that can literally change the perspective, direction, and landscape of our lives. All the more so this week with this radical square from mind-bending Uranus to the solar eclipse. It's best to sit with the eclipse and see where it brings us. Ride any waves, sweep up the messes, hold space as needed, walk through the open doors, and be open to the possibilities that are unfolding. These are huge transitional times. And you see repeatedly messages of upleveling and thresholds and new beginnings and the clearing of the slate and the fire horse and the energy and the solar eclipses conjunct the north node, where we're going, and to just face change, face the uncertainty with certainty, with knowing, which means calm the ego, mind, personality, human down. Just calm it down, allow to make space, not this, not that, look no further, and then wait to see. Let's see what happens in in this eclipse season between now and March 3rd, between now and when Mercury goes direct on the 9th of April. Let's see, but allow things to unfold, and as best possible, don't allow your ego, mind, personality, human to derail you or to direct you in a way that is safe within the matrix. Allow these greater opportunities to be revealed, to come to you. Okay, thank you all so much. We're way over. Look forward to seeing you next week. They wanted all of this in for a reason, because of course, when we get to next week, we're on the other side of this threshold moment. So I look forward to seeing you all there. Until then, be wise, be safe, be kind, be gentle with yourselves and others, and we will see you next week.